Do you feel uncomfortable when holding a conversation with strangers? Do you cling to your phone at parties or in social interactions instead of looking people in the eye? Maybe you feel awkward and you don't know where to put your hands. Do you tend to overthink every little thing you said? Do you feel like you talk too much? If that's the case, then you've clicked on the right video. Let me give you some tips that have helped me as an introvert to feel less awkward in conversations. Social interaction is a skill. Like everything in life, even social interaction is just another skill. For some, this skill might come naturally. For others, including myself, not at all. I read books to better understand the dynamics of a conversation. Then I actively practiced my social skills at parties and networking events. You can improve and train everything in life, including the ability to interact socially. For me, I don't come across as the typical introvert who sits in the corner, clutching my drink and staring at my phone. But when I talk to strangers, I thought 10 times about what I could say to fill the conversation gaps. And that creates a mental cycle where you question, am I interesting enough? Am I too much? Am I overdoing it? Am I too self-centered? Does the other person even care of what I have to say? So rather than talking about myself or something that interests me, I just said nothing at all, smiling and trying not to be too awkward. But let's take a small step back first. Why small talk? I saw small talk as redundant. I didn't really see the point in having uninteresting, superficial conversations. I prefer deeper conversations. I like to talk about perspectives, your beliefs, what you enjoy, what troubles you, and all of that. And then you sit with someone random at a party, and then you talk about the freaking weather. However, my perspective on small talk totally shifted. When you see small talk as a little tool, small talk is the gateway to getting to know someone. You quickly notice, do we vibe? Or do we have fundamentally different views of the world, that we can never be friends? When you have a conversation with a good friend, you can go all in right away. You can start a topic immediately and tell your friends what's going on in your life. And you can do that without an introduction or a warm-up. With strangers, that is way too much. But how do you best start a new conversation? As always, a conversation usually starts with an introduction. Even if you end up in a group and you don't know the people, and a conversation is already going on, there will come a point where you introduce yourself and the other person introduces themselves. And it is immensely important to remember their names. People love the sound of their own name. If you want people to like you, you have to give them the feeling that you care. Many might think, it's really difficult for me to remember names. Sure, if you end up in a group and you're the new one and 5 people tell you their names at once, you usually don't remember all the names. But let's assume you be chilling with your drink and you end up in a one-on-one conversation. If you focus on thinking about how to introduce yourself, but you don't focus on what the other person has to say, of course you can't remember their names. Often we are so busy with ourselves that we don't have enough concentration or capacity left for the other person. Stop thinking, do I look awkward? Is my shirt sitting okay? Where should I put my hands? No one cares about you. They don't know you. I bet you don't care about the other person as much either, so stop the self-sabotaging thoughts. A technique that I use to remember names is to repeat the name several times. Let's say you're at a party and someone just says, "Hi, I'm Sarah." "What was your name?" "Sarah?" "Yeah." "Is your name written with an H?" "No, without." "Oh, cool. Hi, Sarah. I'm Jeremy." If you repeat their name several times and also know how the name is spelled, you will remember it much better. If you later run into the person again, you can mention the name again. "What's up, Sarah? How do you like the party?" Asking questions. If you want to seem interesting, show interest yourself, and I mean genuine interest. And if you're also an introvert, lean into your strength. Use your superpower in conversation. You can ask questions and find common ground. You can always start a conversation with, "Hi, how are you? How was your day?" If the other person responds, try to build on that. If the answer is, "Oh, my day was okay. It was actually pretty crappy," then you can follow up. "What's wrong? What was so bad?" It shows that you care about the other person. Conversely, if the person says, "I'm really good. The day was just freaking amazing," then you can also follow up. "Nice, what went so great?" This develops a dynamic. One direction would be more caring and shows, "I'm there for you." The other allows your counterpart to brag about their day and make them feel good about themselves. What I mean by that is, don't make a roadmap for the conversation. Just listen well and respond. A lot of people are so busy of having the next talking points ready that they only listen with half an ear. Don't just hear the person, but actually listen. And as a side note, even introverted people have a lot to say. Quiet people think a lot and have many strands of thoughts, and therefore a huge repertoire of topics. You just have to make sure that the people feel comfortable around you. Some people might not want to be in the spotlight, but we humans are social beings. We have our own story and we all love it when we are listened to attentively and have the chance to talk about ourselves. If you only talk about yourself and don't really listen to the other person, you can automatically come across as egocentric and unsympathetic. Another great tip you shouldn't miss is conversational threading. I got this tip from Vin Zhang. He's a motivational and inspirational keynote speaker and holds communication workshops. When you are asked a question, no matter how trivial it is helpful to lay out several conversational threads. A bad example would be someone asks, "Hey, where are you from?" "Me? I'm from Cologne." Thank you for this information, and the same question is handed to the next person. Unless you're both from Cologne, it's very hard to connect. But for example, if you answer, "I'm from Cologne, but I would like to live near the mountains and do sports in nature. In the fresh air, I can be much more creative with my photography and videography, but the job opportunities as a urologist are just much more prevalent in the big city." Boom, I just laid out many threads for you. You can pull on what interests you. Do you want to talk about Cologne, nature, sports, creativity, or urology? Let's freaking go. No one remembers what you said. Sometimes you think about the conversations you had the next day and wonder, did I talk too much yesterday? Was I boring? But in the end, the person usually doesn't remember what you said, but only how they felt around you. Were you enthusiastic? Did you make them feel interesting? Did you cheer them on and wish them success? Did you encourage them? And that is what the people will remember, not that you maybe have stuttered. We are often so caught up in our own heads because we care too much about ourselves. So just be authentic. I believe that being authentic is the best way to attract people who are similar to you and repelling people who have different views in life. Sometimes you meet people who don't really express an opinion because they might be afraid of not being liked because of their views. But guess what? If you just smile and nod politely, everyone finds you quite nice, but no one will find you really great. The better you know yourself and the more authentic you are, the more people can identify with you. For example, I like to game, I love technology, I watch anime, I'm a nerd. I mean, I'm here in the room talking to a camera. I didn't like to talk about these topics earlier in my life, especially in school. I used to talk about topics like cooking, sports, dancing, topics that are more appropriate to the standard. But if you're authentic, what kind of people do you attract? I have friends who also enjoy cooking at a Friday night, playing board games and all of that. And even if people can't identify with you, if you like something and show genuine enthusiasm, people will be happy for you. And if not, then you know who you don't want to surround yourself with. Even if you're a person who just likes to stay at home alone and paint a picture for 5 hours, if people see that it makes you really happy, they will be happy for you. And so you give others the chance to get to know your true self. Even if your hobby is exotic, if you meet someone who also has the same hobbies, boom, your new best friend. You might ask yourself, how can I practice all of this? See it as a game. My favorite method for everything is when skills or tasks seem to be difficult, I try to say to myself, don't take it all too seriously. Just because we didn't have the art of conversation down perfectly now, doesn't mean we can't improve. Only when you practice skills, you get better at them. I always try to see myself as a character in a game. Every exercise gives me experience points, and with each time you get a little bit better. You will see what worked and what didn't. A book I can generally recommend on this topic is Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It has helped me a lot with small talk and conversational dynamics. You could even say it changed my life in that regard. When I read the book a few years ago, my wife took me to her work's Christmas party. And I saw it as a big practice field. The good thing is that none of my wife's co-workers are doctors, so you don't immediately find a topic to talk about. So I saw it as an opportunity to talk to people. If I make a fool of myself, who cares? I don't have to be at the next Christmas party, right? And that way, my wife also had the freedom to just change tables and hang out with friends without needing to babysit me. Sorry, he needs attention. I have a final point that you shouldn't miss. It can revive your conversation. When you are in a conversation and you reach a dead point or a pause, this is my favorite question to break the ice, to get to know people better. If you have a whole day off, regardless of work, what do you like to do? I asked this question to my neighbor in the plane during my solo trip to Japan, and this question opened various topic blocks. Do you have a question up your sleeve to break the ice? Let me know. I also like to learn and get better. If you like this video, then I think you will like this video also. I hope you're doing well. I hope you learned something. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time, Jeremy Tuesday. Peace.